Alright, what is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are doing another fun install. We are doing this Perrin oil cooler, which makes me a little nervous because the instructions seem a little in-depth. I've never done an oil cooler, but I think we can figure it out relatively easy. It's going to sit right up in the front of the car. We got some nice AN braided lines that'll come off of this oil cooler and go over to the actual housing where the OE oil cooler sits. So with that, let's jump into it. We'll throw the camera up here. We will take a look at the tools we're going to need to do this, the parts that come with the Perrin oil cooler, and then we'll start installing it. So far I've already drained the oil in the car, taken off the front bumper, taken off the front mount, and that's about as much as I've done because you guys probably already know how to change your oil, or at least drain it and take your bumpers off. So with that, we're just going to jump right into it. Let's start covering what comes with this kit. We'll start with the tools you need over here, and then we'll go into kind of what comes with the kit. So tool-wise, you are going to be disconnecting some coolant lines down there that run to the factory oil cooler. You don't need these, but if you don't use them, be quick. You're going to need a small Allen M6 key, something to cut some line with. I just have a razor blade, 2 needle nose pliers because you are going to be pulling off some clamps, a 3/8 ratchet, a extension, a 17mm to drain your oil. This is a deep 24mm socket that you're gonna need. Now, most people don't generally have these, so if you don't have one, you plan on doing this install, go grab one. 24mm deep socket. An AN wrench is also something you're gonna need. I bought this one on Amazon for like 15 bucks. It'll work, it'll get the job done. I'll link it below if you need an AN wrench, but it'll work out. You're gonna need a torque wrench as well, and then I also bought these on Amazon. These are just some little hose clamp guys that will hold the line together after we get it installed, so that way we don't have to use zip ties, but they do provide zip ties. You're gonna need some oil. Like I said, I'm gonna be running the Motul 8100X Clean in the car. You don't need some gloves, but I do recommend a good set of gloves as well as some rubber gloves since we are gonna be getting into a lot of that oil. Now with the kit, they do send you the adapters and the new the new oil cooler adapter plate that goes on the car. You get the oil cooler itself, you get just some line, since we are going to be rerouting a coolant line under the car. They give you this adhesive strip that we're going to end up needing for these brackets that are going to connect to this. Perrin does send you a nice OEM Subaru oil filter, but I'm going to be using this nice Cusco Sports one instead. So we'll be using that one. They do send instructions, which will be nice, which I will be referencing for torque specs and whatnot. They give you a plethora of these little washers, little Allen keys, and one M6 fender washer. And then this nice little weather stripping so that nothing rubs on the inside of the lines. And then here, you have the 2 oil lines. One of them is longer than the other, so we'll keep that in mind when we're installing these. One of them also does have a 90-degree elbow on it, while the other one does not. Now with this, we kind of ran over everything that we're gonna end up needing. So like I said, I've already drained the oil out of the car. I've already pulled off the oil filter, and I've let that oil drain out for as long as I can. So now with that, we're just gonna jump into starting installing all of this good stuff. Now, as always, it is difficult to film underneath of the car. However, I will capture as much of this as I can. I also don't want to get my camera covered in oil because I would not be a happy camper. So with that, let's start getting all this stuff in the car and get this oil cooler installed. Alright guys, so the first thing that we gotta do is take off that 24mm bolt right up there in the factory oil cooler. Now, it's not gonna be too bad to do. Just get that 24mm socket right up in there, pull out that neck right in the center of the screen right there, and that whole thing should come out. After we get that off, we're gonna have to pull off the 2 coolant lines. There's one on each side of that oil cooler, and once those coolant lines are off, we're gonna reconnect those, given that little factory T-fitting that Perrin supplied to get it off. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna get that guy pulled off. I'm gonna set this camera up right behind me so I can get in here to get that guy off, and then we'll keep going on this install. So right there we can see that's a coolant line that we just swapped off, and then that's the new sandwich plate which we got on. That is not torqued down yet. They said to only loosely put it on there, which we did. So now that we have this situation figured out, which by the way, when you pull off that fucking coolant line, be prepared to just take a shower in coolant. They say you gotta be quick. They didn't say that there's a waterfall of coolant coming out of there. So Now, thankfully, I threw one of these hose clamps on there to stop the coolant flow, but Jesus Christ. So now that we got this on there, we are ready to put the actual oil cooler together. So we're gonna hop back over to the bench, get the oil cooler put back together, and then get it on the car. So now we're ready to put these brackets, well, the brackets are on. The orientation is as shown. Perrin does a pretty good job in the picture, but with the ports facing me, the little nub up here is on the top left, and then on this side there's a small shelf right here that is closest to me. Now we're gonna go ahead and throw in these small M6 screws onto this guy to get these brackets held down, and then we are going to move to the adhesive tape, get this guy put on there, and then get that put on the car. If you take the oil cooler on the side opposite of the nub, if you look here, you've got the small little shelf. So on that shelf right there, we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna cut some of the adhesive strips, and we're gonna lay them across that shelf. That's where it's gonna end up sticking onto the car. So make sure that surface is clean. If you have oil on it, get it off. But we're gonna go ahead and get these strips put on here, and then get this guy mounted up. Alright, so I just got this cleaned off with acetone. The hole that you're going to need is going to be left of the bracket up top, and the sticky spot's going to be right down here on the bottom. Now I'm going to go ahead and get that adhesive tape off of this oil cooler, get it stuck on here, get it right up here, and then we're going to have to take a flathead and pry it down and keep pressure on it to get that tape to stick. Now with that, we need to go ahead, get that stuck on there, go ahead and grab a pry bar and push that guy down. I don't have a pry bar, so I'm using this this flathead. Now, something to note, oh yeah, it's on there. It ain't gonna go anywhere. Something to note is that this is gonna have to sit for 20 minutes before I can do anything else to let that cure, because that's the only way that this oil cooler is mounted. We don't want the bottom part coming loose over time and flapping around everywhere. That's not gonna be a good day for anyone. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna keep applying pressure to this. In 20 minutes we'll come back and we will keep going on the install. We'll get the lines ran over it, we'll get everything put back together, and yeah, I'm excited. I'm gonna be honest, the worst part of this so far was getting covered in coolant, dude. Like, Jesus Christ. Jesus. Alrighty, so it has been about 20 minutes now. I went ahead and I just loosely threaded these fittings on here because this is what we're gonna have to do next. Now, Perrin says that they need to be tightened down to 35 to 40 foot-pounds. I don't have a torque wrench that can do something like that. So we're gonna go ahead and tighten them down the old-fashioned way. I've got a standard crescent wrench and my AN wrench here. Perrin does suggest that you hold down this bung, but I don't think I have something big enough. It's the biggest wrench I have, so yeah, I don't have something big enough to hold that one down, so I'm gonna tighten these guys down as much as I can and get them onto the oil cooler. I'm gonna be honest, I cannot go any tighter than that. So the one with the 90-degree fitting here, that one's gonna have to be threaded to the right side of the oil cooler that we had in there, and it's gonna route down and back through here by my intercooler piping, which is gonna be a little interesting to actually get fitted. So with that, I've got that guy fitted. I'm gonna go down there, I'm gonna get that guy snug up on the right side of the fitting, and then we'll get this one snug up on the left side. Has been awful. So I just spent like an hour and a half trying to take off the header down here to get room to tighten those AN fittings on the oil plate down there. But we got them. So that bottom line is gonna, if you're looking at the front of the car, the orientation, the bottom line is gonna go to the left fitting. The top line is gonna go to the right fitting. I don't know why Perrin told you to try to get those fittings on, because you got to take the header off, and my header is stripped and is not coming off. I tried to take off that middle piece. So I took the oil sandwich plate, dropped it down, undid the lines from this side, and then tightened this side first, and then retightened these lines here. Now, it's a huge pain in the ass. This is not an enjoyable install, and I don't know why, because even with those fittings up there, you can't tighten anything. So why? I don't understand why Perrin would be like, yeah, just run them up over the header and then tighten them down. Like, no wrench is gonna fit between that header and that sandwich plate. So I made it work, and we got this part on. So next I need to zip tie the lines together and then put on that protection sheathing around all the metal edges wherever these lines touch. So I'm gonna run through. I'm gonna get all the metal or all these lines zip tied together, and then get that protection put on there, and then we can keep going on wrapping this guy up. So I just tried to put the weather stripping on to protect the areas that needed it. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. There's nowhere that the lines aren't touching anything. They're not gonna rub against anything, so I'm not too concerned with it. But with this is not big enough to fit on a single one of the seams. So it's absolutely pointless to do. So now that we've got the lines ran, they're kind of zip tied together here. We need to torque down the oil cooler sandwich plate guy. So we got the oil filter on. Everything is good to go at this point. Perrin wants us to prepare to start the car. So I need to get my front mount thrown back on the car. We're gonna get that guy done. Once we get that done, we'll keep going on the procedure that Perrin said. This shouldn't be too bad to get the intercooler back on. I am a little concerned about the lines here and how they're gonna fit with the intercooler, but we'll find out as I get it on the car. This, my friends, this is the look of defeat. So there is absolutely no way that this oil cooler is going to fit with the front mount. The oil cooler itself clears, but there's no way to route any of these lines to make it so it clears the intercooler. So that's really annoying. Confirmed, the Perrin oil cooler will not work with the ETS front mount. I am more than annoyed at the moment. So I'm going to just time-lapse me putting everything back together on the car, and we'll wrap this video up. Yay. Not how I pictured this going. Not at all. Alright, I'm gonna end it on that one. I'm a little annoyed with the whole fact that I spent an entire day trying to get this Perrin oil cooler to fit and it doesn't. So I'm probably gonna look around, I have this one posted for sale if anyone is interested in it. I am asking $650 for it. It's like $150 cheaper than brand new, but I'll probably end up buying a Cusco one or Process West, just another manufacturer that sells them that has better fitment quality than Perrin does. But with that, I appreciate all the time that you guys spend here with me on the channel, even if we don't successfully install parts. I was thinking about this earlier. One of the reasons why I wanted to start the channel is because, like at the beginning of this, I had absolutely no idea how to install an oil cooler. I know not a lot of people go into a lot of installs knowing how to do things, so that's why I want to provide this information, so that way you guys can go through and do installs that you don't feel 100% comfortable with. Save yourself some money from going to a shop or just paying your buddy to do something. Just learn how to do it yourself. So I mean, that's why I want to do a lot of these installs on the channel, is just be able to get that content out there so everyone else can get their own installs done. But anyways, we're gonna end it here. If you guys are not already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do that up here today. Boop, up in that corner. And ooh, I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out, homies.